It was my first year of grad school. I was in the middle of learning a completely new approach to acting, the Demidov technique. Daily etudes, assigning lines with calm, all of it still relatively new to me. And then, one day I suddenly got a call from Andrei, my first year acting teacher and the director of the program. One of the second year actors wasn't able to participate in his role, and he asked me if I would be willing to fill in. I talked to my wife, and she said, "Yeah, why else are you here? Here's a chance to act." So I agreed to do it with excitement and nervousness. The play was An Inspector Calls. I would be playing Birling. If you know the play, you know Birling has these enormous monologues, long, dense, argumentative speeches. He's a long-winded character, and it's even commented on in the play that he's long-winded. And I only had a couple of weeks before the show opened. I remember opening the script and just looking at it, the sheer volume of text. And something happened in my body before I'd even said a word, a kind of tightening, a low-grade panic. How am I going to memorize all of this in such a short amount of time? I tried to learn my lines with calm. I knew that was the right approach. I'd been learning it all year. But the anxiety was already there, already in my hands when I picked up the script. And I didn't have enough time to do it slowly. So I pushed. I drilled. I recorded myself saying the lines and I listened to it. I somehow memorized all the lines. And then I got on stage and I could feel it. Something was tighter than it should have been, less free. The lines were in my body, but so was everything I'd felt while learning them. I didn't put it fully together until later, but what I eventually understood was this. I hadn't just learned the lines, I had assigned the anxiety right along with them. Hi, I'm Brian Zane. Welcome to The Actor's Nervous System, a podcast about acting, embodiment, and the nervous system. This is episode 5. You're not just learning your lines. Here's the human problem. How do you learn all those lines? Every actor has heard this question, usually from a non-actor at a party or after a show, genuinely impressed, genuinely curious, and most actors kind of just shrug it off. Oh, you just do it. You repeat them enough times, you get them out of the way so you can get to the real work. But here's what I've come to believe. That question, how do you learn all those lines, is not the superficial question most actors think it is. It's actually one of the most important questions in all actor training. And most of us, including myself for a long time, were answering it completely wrong. I remember learning lines in high school. My mom would run lines with me sitting on the living room couch. And sometimes I'd paraphrase just slightly, just close enough, and she'd stop me. That's not what it says. And I'd get frustrated, not really at her, at myself. And I'd say, that's close enough. The audience won't know. I meant it. I genuinely didn't understand why the exact words mattered. Most actors get told one of a few things about how to learn their lines. Just get them in your head, however works for you, as fast as possible. Grind through it. Or improvise them first, get the sense of them in your own words, then tighten up the actual text later, which sounds reasonable, except those are your words, not the character's. You're practicing being you, not the character. Or, and this is what I was taught in undergrad, wait until you have your blocking and your intentions fully worked out, then learn everything together. Which means by the time you finally sit down to memorize, you're compressed, stressed, and working against a deadline. None of these approaches ask the question that actually matters. What are you assigning into your body alongside the words? In Demidov technique, we don't say memorize or learn lines. We say assign. The word is deliberate. You're not storing information in your head. You're placing something into your whole body, your subconscious, your nervous system, your creative instrument as a unified whole. And here's the thing about assigning. Whatever state you're in while you do it gets assigned too. Demidov draws a beautiful analogy in his book. He points out that we assign things to ourselves every single morning without even thinking about it. Quote, having woke up in the morning before leaving the house, we mentally review all we have to do. Go there, call such and such, don't forget something at work, get somewhere by a certain hour. Calmly, we leave the house and our businesses come to mind in the right order, one after the other. Whatever we assigned is now being executed. You already know how to do this. You do it before you leave for work. You load something into your subconscious calmly, without drama, and when the time comes, it's there. It takes care of itself. The actor's assignment is the same instinct. The difference is what you're loading in and the condition you're in while you do it. If you load in calm, calm is what joins you on stage. If you load in anxiety and tension and the desperate need to get it right, that joins you on stage too. The line comes out, but so does everything else you were feeling when you put them in. That's what happened to me with Birling. I got the lines, but I got them under pressure, under a clock, with my hands slightly shaking every time I picked up the script. And all of that came with me onto the stage. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Demidov is also explicit that assigning and performing are two completely different modes that must stay completely separate. He uses this analogy. To assign a text does not mean to play it. On the contrary, to assign is to load it in. When loading, be it a photographic camera or a rifle, you will not be trying to take a picture or to make a shot at the same time for the sake of testing it or rehearsing the shot. Think about that for a second. Nobody loads a camera and simultaneously tries to take the picture to see if the loading worked. You load it, then when the moment comes, you shoot. But most actors, and I did this constantly in my early training, perform while they're loading. They say the line and immediately evaluate, did that feel right? Was the emotion there? Did I get it? They fire the shot prematurely, before the film is even in the camera. And Demidov goes on to explain, drawing on the physiologist Pavlov, that once you've fully performed a line, once you've fired that shot, the area of the brain that produced it becomes inhibited. The stronger the performance, the stronger the inhibition that follows. You can't fire the shot and then expect to fire it just as powerfully a second time immediately after. So, assigning neutrally, without performing, without evaluating, without committing to any particular delivery, isn't holding back. It's protecting the creative potential of the line until the moment it actually needs to be used. All right, here's how to actually assign. Start as soon as you get the role. Even 5 minutes a day. You don't need long sessions. You need calm, consistent contact with the text. Daily practice, low stakes, no pressure to have anything down yet. If you start the day you get the role, you have all the time in the world. If you wait until 2 weeks before opening, you have none. Demidov also gives us something to use when first learning the text called emotional tactile reading. This is where you begin. Demidov describes this in Becoming an Actor Creator. During such reading, one must not give the text one's full attention, but rather merely keep an eye on it. Your job is to save it up for later. This is yet another reason why you should never begin by speaking the text of the role aloud or while moving. Everything must be first tried out silently and inwardly. And then this extraordinary instruction. When reading the text silently, I must merely peep at it as if my job is to peep and eavesdrop on something. And I must do it so that those around me won't notice that I am peeping. Those around me is my conscious mind. Peep at it. Eavesdrop. Don't let your conscious mind catch you looking. The progression is this. First, read silently, word by word, pausing after each one, letting it sink. No expression, no commitment, no performance, just the word landing somewhere below conscious attention. Then whisper, very carefully, preserving what Demidov calls the charge. Not performing, not indicating, just letting the words become sound for the first time. Then you use your full voice. Neutral, no predetermined emotion, no chosen delivery. Speak the text. Look around the room while you do it. Don't go behind your eyes, because if you go internal while assigning, you'll always say the line that internal way, and you've committed to something before the character has had a chance to tell you how it wants to come out. Next tip, assign your partner's lines too. This is something Demidov emphasizes and that I've found makes an enormous difference. When you know your partner's lines as well as your own, something settles in your nervous system. You don't have to half listen while scanning ahead for your cue. You can actually be present, actually listen, because you already know what's coming. The calm this creates on stage is hard to overstate. Here's what to do when a line won't stick. If there's a line you keep getting wrong, paraphrasing slightly, losing it, stumbling on it, don't force it. Don't drill it with frustration. Don't punish yourself. Approach it with curiosity instead. I wonder why I'm having a tough time merging into that part of the character. Because here's what I've come to understand about paraphrasing. A paraphrase is a small act of substituting yourself for the character. You're saying it the way you would say it, not the way the character would say it. And if you consistently paraphrase a particular line, it might mean that part of the character hasn't fully landed in your subconscious yet. The line that resists you is giving you information. It's telling you where more calm, patient work is needed, not where you need to push further. Demidov's daily scales, his daily etudes, are practicing all of this. One of the most remarkable things about Demidov's technique, and something I didn't fully appreciate until years into the training, is that every part of the actor's process is being practiced simultaneously, every day. When you do a daily etude with a partner, you sit with the text. You say the lines neutrally. You don't plan, you don't perform. You're not just doing an acting exercise. You're practicing assigning, letting go, allowing your creative subconscious to take over. The daily scales, the etudes, the assigning, it's all one unified thing. You can't separate them out because Demidov never separated them in the first place. So back to grad school. I finished performing as Birling, finished my first year. Then over the summer, I got the role of Jason in Clyde's, many months before we went into rehearsal. I started assigning over the summer, daily, quietly, calmly, a few minutes at a time. No pressure to have anything memorized yet, just consistent, calm contact with the text and the character. By the time our first speak-through happened, the lines were already deeply seated. They weren't in my head. They were somewhere below that, in my body, in my subconscious, ready to come out however the moment called for them. And the freedom I felt in that production was directly connected to how I'd assigned those lines. Not just that I knew them, but how I'd come to know them. Here's something you can try today with any text you're working on, or even just a monologue you already know. Find somewhere quiet. No pressure to perform, no clock. Take the first word of your text, just the first word. Read it and let it sit for a moment, 2 or 3 seconds. Don't do anything with it, just let it land. Move on to the next word. Let that one sit. Continue through the passage this way, silently, word by word, without expression, without committing to any meaning or delivery, just the words sinking in. Good. Then go back to the beginning and whisper it. Same pace, same neutrality, no performance, just sound. Finally, go back and speak the lines in the same pace with your full voice. Notice what happens. Don't evaluate it, just notice. The goal isn't to have it memorized by the end. The goal is to begin a different relationship with the text, one where you're not forcing it into your head, but allowing it to settle somewhere deeper. That's assigning. And once you feel the difference between that and drilling, between loading calmly and firing prematurely, you won't want to go back. The question, how do you learn all those lines, turns out not to be about memory at all. It's about what you're building in your subconscious and the condition you're in while you build it. Tension assigned is tension on stage. Calm assigned is freedom on stage. You're not just learning lines. You're building the character word by word in the quietest possible way. Thanks for listening to The Actor's Nervous System. You can find the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, and Substack. I'm Brian Zane. Until next time, try less, listen more, and allow life to move through you.